Hi, I'm Gabe.
And I'm Kat.
And we're the Ghouls Next Door. And today, we are talking about clones.
We're the same. We are one. Heartache to heartache.
Yeah.
Finish my sandwiches.
These sands.
Jeez, you're the worst clone ever.
Yeah.
We're not
I
clones
want independence.
All. Fine,
I want to be my own
guess.
person. I don't want to be a model in Maxim. I want to.
No, I just want you to finish my
sandwiches.
No, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Return.
No.
Start from scratch. This is a defective batch. Goodbye.
Yeah.
That's what I gotta say.
Evil. That's not evil.
We're always evil. We've never not been evil.
I'm a whole person. You have to appreciate me.
You're probably evil too. People suck, man.
No.
I'm gonna say a lot about those.
Yeah.
I want the world to know.
Yeah.
People suck, man.
People do suck, man.
So let's make clones of them.
Wait,
so there's
what?
more suckage to go around.
No, we do not need more suckage. Yeah, today we're talking about clones, and we're going to talk about the science behind it, the ethics behind it, the ramifications behind it, after it.
What is ethics? There's no ethics. Everyone sucks.
Yeah.
That's okay. That. I don't mean to be pessimistic, y'all. I'm just saying this bummed me out. Real hard. But I'm also like hype about it. So it's like it's a mix of both.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was going to bring up similar feelings that I've had previously about certain things. Yeah. So it was interesting to be like, this again.
Yes.
We meet again.
We are almost experts.
Yeah. We've been doing this for a long time. It's been 2 years, so.
We don't have to be like, other people say smart words. It's like, we say smart words.
Yeah.
So
stay tuned. We're going to be talking what's the deal with clones.
Yeah.
And some films that we watched about it.
Facts. Yeah, facts. We tell you facts. All the facts. We tell you facts. All the facts. Yeah, facts. Still facts. About that spooky stuff. Yeah.
The people are trash movement. Are people trash? That's the question.
People are trash, mostly.
I have news to deliver. We will be trash for many, many years to come. Optimism all around. Everyone will remain trash. Everyone's been trash. They're going to continue to be trash. Everyone's trash. It's a bad time. So.
Yes.
How does this relate to our topic today? Let me tell you.
That was exactly my question. I was like, yeah, we know that.
You know, as technology progresses and the morally well-to-do people are like, there's no way this wonderful thing I've invented could be used for evil. Evil people are like, yo, challenge accepted. Let's do that.
I like that new thing you got there. Be a shame if someone evil took advantage of it.
I'm gonna Travis it.
Yes.
That. Everyone's like, oh, it's gonna be so great. We're gonna cure cancer. We're gonna make everyone's organs. La la la. It's so great. They're murdering people. That's not happening yet. So I want to start there.
Okay.
We're not at that stage yet. I'm really late to the This Is Scary party in that a lot of stuff is already happening that I was like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Nuh-uh. Shut up.
Since when?
Yeah. No, that's kind of
someone needs to call their moms.
Where I'm at. So, I mean, all the films we watch, they kind of all say this in that, like, you give people a thing, they ruin it. This is what people do. People take a thing and they're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I throw it on the ground. Like,
out of your hands. Yeah.
It's not good anymore. And, you know, how do we get here? History. Where are we going? It's not any better. Basically, people want their favorite thing. They want that thing. They don't care how they get it. You could tell someone, like, I got this from murdering a bunch of babies. They'd be like, but it's my favorite thing, though. I, like, really need it.
Yeah.
You could deliver. So they be on Amazon. They want their favorite shoes.
Yeah.
Click on their shoes. They're like, 1 day delivery. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then you deliver that in an Amazon Fresh box instead of a regular box because that thing is filled with blood and tears.
Yeah.
And they have to like take their favorite shoes and drip the blood and tears all over their house. And they'd be like, yeah, I mean.
But one day, though.
It's my favorite. Look, everyone's going to compliment me on these shoes.
Yeah, they could literally still have,
cool.
like, the feet of somebody else in them.
Yes. That's
like,
what
I
I'm
just
saying.
gotta
Is
remove
like,
these feet.
everything life has taught me is that, and including these films, even though they weren't like, this is the meaning, is that people are trash, one, but that they want their favorite thing. They're going to do whatever they need to get their favorite thing. They're going to kill people. They're going to be like, I don't want to know that I'm killing people and sit on my little pedestal and think I'm a great person when you're not.
Yeah, or not even just a favorite thing, just like a thing that makes things like convenient.
Convenience. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. The whole thing is convenience or like motivated. Like people really just want the thing that makes things easier. They don't want to know how it happened. We pick things off shelves that have like been basically like the people at Amazon that we know that they are horrible to their workers. We still do it. So like all I'm saying is everyone needs to stop telling me that if presented with a hypothetical thing, specifically in this instance, clones.
Or, well, even like removing clones. What about just like organs?
People are going to take them. Mm-hmm. They don't care. No one cares. They say they care, they don't care. I don't care what you tell me. You're going to be like, Kat, it's totally fine. It's not fine. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So let's get to the clones part of the argument.
Yes.
So we're like, hey, what if we clone people? And for anyone who's like, Kat, they aren't going to clone people, shut up. They already do. They don't, like, actually. But they clone skin.
Yes.
They're already cloning, like, human parts.
Yeah.
Essentially. So they're basically taking organs already. I don't know. But if this is news to you, so essentially I thought they cloned that sheep and it was over and I was like, all right, cool. Like, and then they made the monkey and I was like, that's stressful, but like,
they made
all
like
right.
a sheep or something, right?
Yeah, the sheep was like 25 years ago or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a while ago. And then everyone was freaking out. They're like, oh my god, clones are happening now. And they weren't.
Yeah.
And then everyone calmed down and we're like, all right, I guess no one's going to do anything with clones. That stinks. I really wanted my replacement child Pet Cemeteried up into life again. Like, I want that, you know. And then everyone forgot about it. So specifically, two things about this are really scary. So one, clone has been here for a minute. Like, it's not new. Like, they are... I thought that they had not gotten to the point where people are getting their pets cloned and stuff like that.
No, I think I did read an article about that, about dogs.
Well, you didn't tell me. So,
I forgot until you just said that.
Is that, like, I'm very late to the scary party. This is terrifying.
Yeah.
So, one, they have been out here cloning dogs and horses.
Yeah, there was like an article where a lady cloned like her like white puffy dog like 7 times or something.
Yeah.
It was weird.
You know who else cloned their dog? Barbara Streisand.
Yes, maybe that's what it was. Was it a white
for
fluffy dog?
For $50,000. That's like a lot of money, but like I would expect a whole clone to cost significantly more than that.
How much was it?
$50,000. That's like
for
one semester at college.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
It's like a car.
Jeff Bezos could do that in like not even like he could have like 20 of those and he'd be like, "What?"
Don't even get me started. He's on my list of things to say.
He's on my list, but it's different and it's a murder one.
Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of in my pocket of this person's company sucks. Probably they suck too, likely. I don't know.
Oh, 100%.
So, yeah. So, one, they've been doing it for like a minute. Specifically, I got a lot of my information from this article that was originally published in MIT's Technology Review, but I read it on The Guardian, so it traveled.
Yeah.
It's been around.
Yeah, it's more attainable.
Since 2018, and no one told me, and I'm like, what?
I do remember the Barbara Streisand thing.
Well, you're rude, and you didn't say anything.
I forgot about it.
I should have been panicking then.
Well, I don't know what you're going to do now, but what did you read?
So, Antonio Regallo wrote an article. It's called Pet Cloning is Bringing Human Cloning a Little Bit Closer. Okay. And this is in 2018, so I was like, all right, already scared. So basically, this guy shot a question to this guy named Jose Cabelli, an animal cloning scientist at Michigan State University. And he's like, he's messaged him for the last 25 years. He's like, is it time for human cloning yet? Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And he's always like, no, shut up, no, that's people. Silly. So he replied.
And then this recent time.
Yeah, no, very recent. He replied very quickly. Said like quickly replied. Nothing more than yes. Did not.
Because he's sad.
Explain.
He's sad about it.
Did not elaborate more. It was just like, yeah, yes. We've been doing that. I don't know.
I'm not allowed to say anymore because of the paperwork I signed, but yes.
Essentially, because of scientific advancements, this guy named Yi Zhang figured out how to use stem cells to increase the chances of success. So essentially, there was a 1% success because of the fact that a lot of adult cells would be blocked. It would be blocking, like you couldn't make like an adult out of nothing, you know what I mean? Like you could make a baby, but you can't, I think, I don't know science. But what I'm saying is that it had a 1% chance, they added stem cells and made it all fancy, and now there's a 10% chance, which is a lot higher if you're like throwing embryos and eggs at stuff and you're risking all that situation. Like it's a lot better of a chance to get 10% than it is to get 1%. So but that's like open a lot of doors.
For a lot of things. It does help.
Oh yeah, no, it's positive, I guess.
Like if the right people are doing it. And you're doing it for the right reasons.
Okay, what I'm saying is...
Okay.
No one has the right reasons. They all think that they do, and then someone kidnaps them and forces them to make bombs and crap. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is
there's
like
never
Star Wars.
Everyone sucks. But that was in 2018, so this has been happening. Okay. I did not know that. Number 2.
Been happening.
Been happening. That's what I'm saying. Number 2. They know that they can make humans because they were making laws like in 2020. It was like an article. It was like, what things are banned in 2020? Like law-wise, that's new. Clones made the list. Human clones specifically.
Just like catching them at the front before it
it's now.
Gets through, which is nice. In this political climate, that's probably the nicest law that.
Yeah, you know what? They're full of it. They're full of it, and I don't believe them, and I'm so mad. So the following. Arkansas lawmakers voted to prohibit state funding of human cloning or destructive embryo research. So nice of them. Stating that the prospect of creating new human life solely to be exploited or destroyed has been condemned on moral grounds as displaying a profound disrespect for human life. That's an article from USA Today.
That's a whole thing.
You know what? Yeah, America, go ahead. Go ahead. Say that you don't believe in exploiting people and destroying human lives. Louder, please. Because you're full of it. All you do is that. The second you stepped here, that's all you've been doing. What do you mean? You don't care about anything. There's no morality. You're trash. Everything here is trash. Don't tell me you care about this, but you don't care about children in cages. I'm so angry.
Yes.
Like, burn it all down. It already is. I don't know. So what I'm saying is, I'm mad.
Yeah.
Don't tell me
if we had clone children, they would be in cages for sure.
100%. So what I'm saying is, like, one, blocking things don't make it go away. That's just a fact. It just makes it illegal now.
Yeah,
and then shadier people do it.
Work.
Yes. No, 100%. They just dig a different way. It's a different route. It's like for abortion. It's just more unsafe now. Great. Thank you.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Happy. Yay.
Maybe put some regulations in place.
So what I'm saying is like, yeah, government, thanks. Thanks for saying you care when you don't. And then just handing the reins over to Jeff Bezos, who's as sure as he is a billionaire, is able to just be like, yeah, I'll pay for that. I want a clone.
He could do whatever. And it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is y'all just took the regulations out of it and gave the reins to, I mean, y'all both evil, but like, you just gave rich people more control. Like and when I say this, I told you I would be screaming. I told you I would be screaming this whole time.
I'm here.
So rich people are already asking for it. An entrepreneur behind the horse cloning industry in Texas. You know, that's just the thing that exists. I didn't know.
Like if one breaks a leg, it just here comes, rolling on third, number 7.
They just made a bunch. That's what they do though. They make a bunch of horses so that they can just race and win and
it's gross.
So Alan Meeker is his name.
Okay.
Told CBS that he's been asked by some of the wealthiest people of the planet to clone a human being. Meeker said he'd refused. Yeah, okay. His reason, no one would tell him why they wanted a clone. Again, sure, 2018.
What's up with that? Why you need it? No reason.
No, you know what they want? They want, it's like sad, but like they want a pet cemetery, all the stuff in their lives that don't exist anymore. Or
they want to live forever.
They want to live forever. They want to harvest those organs. They want to do the island. Maybe the island already exists is what I'm saying. This is 2018.
Yeah.
2020, they're outlawing it.
Yeah. 2 years.
It already exists.
Supposed to happen already,
no, what I'm saying
right?
is,
Wasn't it 2020
it already exists.
That the island
no one
took
can
place?
convince me. So to wrap it up, stop acting like people are going to do the right thing. They're not. They're not going to, they've never done it. They've 100% always done the wrong thing and called it the right thing.
Yeah.
And wrote in history, look at this great thing we did. It's murder. All of it's murder. Everything's dying and fire and bloody and shut up, is what I got to say. Some is going to stroll up and be like, I figured it out. I'm going to cure cancer and all your problems. And then the rich people will be like, yeah. All right, come on.
Yeah.
Build a bunker in the middle of the California desert. Let's go. I'm funding it. Here, take all my money.
Yeah.
I want to live forever. I don't care if you have to murder everything, because they already do it now. All the rich people, they don't take care of anybody other than themselves.
Yeah.
They give millions of dollars. That means nothing, where they could have solved homelessness. Jeff.
Yeah.
Not the one we like.
Yeah. Yes.
And all I'm saying is, stop thinking people are going to be good, because they're not. Like, I think I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
But I do messed up stuff all the time. Like, everyone sucks. We're all trash.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, like, burn it all down, because, like, that's illegal. But, like, kind of, though.
Maybe you can do that.
I'm not justifying, like, destroying the whole planet and starting again, but everyone sucks. Like, stop acting
You're
like we don't
not
suck.
endorsing that.
All I'm saying is stop. Like, just accept that this is what we are.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop telling me you care when you don't care. It makes me so angry.
It's like, to quote the good Jeff Goldblum
Yes.
in Jurassic Park,
Yes.
where he says
Thank you, Jeff.
that we were too worried about whether we could, that we didn't stop to think if we should.
Always.
That's
Finds a
science.
way.
That's a whole mode.
Bad people find a way. Life finds a way. Everything finds a way. It's all a bad time.
Yeah, films. Yeah, films. We watched some films. Now let's talk about those films.
So we watched some stuff.
As we always do.
Yeah. Or we'll
Always
play stuff
do.
sometimes.
Yeah. We like mostly watch. One of us plays, one of us watches.
Yeah. Or sometimes we read.
True.
And
You
sometimes
read.
by we, I meant me.
You read, and then I watch a YouTube video that tells me what happened.
You read the Wikipedia, and then
Yeah.
you're like, good point.
Yeah, excellent. That book was wow.
10 out of 10 book.
Yeah.
Oh, good read. Good reading.
Love it.
Really loved that. Really loved the plot point. That was specific.
Great.
Really love the sentence that IMDb picked out for me.
Yeah, it was
It's
good, right to the point.
Yeah. So we watched two things. We watched, first we watched The Island
Yes.
from 2005, and it's very much from 2005.
Oh, yeah. And I loved that movie, and I didn't know
Me
it was
too.
embarrassing until I got older, and then someone told me it was. So
When I remember watching it when it first came out, and I was like, yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is what I want. Thank you.
Because it was like sci-fi, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
what if? But it was like, now I watched it, and I realized that it's like 75% Michael Bay. So
Oh, yeah.
at like, I think 20, 25 minutes in, I kind of just tuned out, because it was just like car chases. I remember looking up, and there's a part where like ScarJo is like hanging off the building, and she's like, don't let me go. And it's like, what is the alternative here?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Like,
let you die.
What do you think he was?
You
She's
don't
like,
know, Gabe.
Lift me up, and he's like, all right, yeah. So it's like, ooh, and holding her, and it's like so dramatic. And I was like, how did we get here on the building? And I was like, I gotta go back to whatever I'm doing. I'm gonna exit.
No, because the exciting part is the first like 20 minutes. The
Yeah.
first 20 minutes is like
It's just a
the
sci-fi
whole
film.
film.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about it. Like,
Yeah, that's all I remembered. I don't remember. I do remember. So okay, here's what it's about. If you haven't watched it since 2005, you can probably watch it on like FXX or something. It'll be
It's
on
on
USA
stuff.
Network.
Yeah.
It's on the television. But it's directed by Michael Bay,
Obviously.
and it's obvious later. But when I recall the parts of the film that I remembered, I was like, Michael Bay. And really, it was written as a solid film, and then Michael Bay was like, yeah, just give me that. And then he just like threw in all his explosion
for sure,
stuff.
'cause
And it
it's
was
him.
just like, oh, cool. Well, this is about a man living in a futuristic sterile colony begins to question his circumscribed existence when his friend is chosen to go to the island, the last uncontaminated place on Earth.
yeah.
So we have people who live in this future world where they have to wear the same clothes and the same food and all that kind of stuff. And they,
Sort of, yeah.
yeah, it's like, it's
It's like now though. 'Cause
Yeah, but it's
you know what
but
I mean?
it's supposed to seem futuristic
Yes,
because they're in that
I got
building.
you. I got
The
you.
stuff comes out the drawers. He
Yeah.
talks to some kind of being that you don't see, where he's like, "I lost my shoe."
Alexa.
Yeah, right. And so it's like this. yeah, but it's like even more intense because it's
I
like
got you.
everything's
I'm picking it up.
monotone.
I follow your
He
words.
like few people get a color. Right, everyone has to wear white, so it's like this like dystopian world, and it's a future where what they're told is that the world had a horrible disease.
Yeah, like contaminated.
Yeah,
We destroyed it, like we're doing.
Yeah.
And you can't go outside. It's not safe.
and every time there's a new person, it's that they found a survivor.
Yeah.
And so then we have Ewan McGregor, because I guess this whole series is like
ScarJo or Ewan, just pick a movie.
Yeah.
This one they're together, so that was
yeah.
different.
Last time it was like they picked one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like ScarJo's like first like action-y film, and it definitely shows. She's still a little rusty, but
Yeah.
it's also Michael Bay, so she didn't really get a lot of talking lines or substance. So that speaks for itself.
2005 law. Also Michael Bay. Throw them both together. It's
Yeah,
what we saw.
that's the time. But eventually, it's revealed that they're clones.
Yeah.
And it like kind of just, and I think it did a good job of that. It happens like pretty quickly, and then all of a sudden derails into Michael Bay world.
Yeah, like the first 20 minutes are super solid, and then it's just this like, what?
Yeah.
What?
How do we get here? Now what? What happens now? But I think
like,
the
this
first
is
part
real
was
intense,
really
like,
solid.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, one of the most impactful things is I can't remember the actor's name, but the one guy who's supposed to be the famous football player.
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
he's the first one that we see that has won the lottery, and
he was,
he's
like,
going to go to the
new, so everyone's
islands.
mad.
Yeah, because they're like, what? And so he's a clone of a football player, and they need is like something really quick.
Yeah.
And so he's like on the surgery table, and he's not out. He wakes up, and
Yeah.
it's like horror. Like
Oh,
anyone
100%.
who's like, you did the island, that's not scary. It's like, okay, well, watch that scene. Watch him running while his chest is still open, screaming bloody murder. Like it is so compelling. Like it,
Yeah.
honestly, was the best acting in the whole film.
Oh, 100%.
Was him screaming and yelling, and just like it was so raw and real. Like I really felt that, and I was like, out of all of the people in here, he's the one I care about, and I've only seen him like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I vividly remember that because I watched this when I was like 13. I don't know, I was like
Yeah.
a kid, and I remember that scene more than any other scene. I was like, I want them all to live. He wants to live. Like
Yeah.
he's crying. Like they all have souls. Don't tell me they don't have souls. I don't care that they're clones.
Yeah, and he's like, I want to go to the island.
Yeah.
Like, he's screaming that.
He wanted it to be real.
And at the time, it's when Ewan sees him, and then it realizes that this whole like the island is fake.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that they're clones yet, but he knows that they're fake, and so that the island is fake. He
Yeah.
kind of goes through that, and then it's him like kind of realizing that they try to meet their originals or whatever, and yeah.
It's that whole you meet them, they don't care.
Yeah, like it's like people the thing to remember in this is that people don't know that they're clones. They just think there's organs. That they have
like
organs
unconscious,
made,
never
not
conscious.
real things, right?
Yeah.
So they don't know they're people. So it's this idea, like you have this idea that like, okay, if only they knew, we can like report it out, we can go to the news, and then people would stop. And then we meet one of the people, and he definitely did not care, and was like, why is my
didn't care.
product in my house?
Yeah,
Yelling
he's
at
like,
me
I
because
spent
he
all
wants
this
to
money.
live.
Like, what? Oh, and I
What?
feel like also from the scene we were talking about before is like when the staff are reacting to it happen, it
Yeah.
just shows how like little they see
Yeah.
the clones is. They're just like, this happens all
Yeah,
the
this
time.
happens all the time.
Oh,
But
it's
then,
so
I
funny
mean,
they wanted to live.
but it makes you think of any like if you know people who work in prisons,
Yeah.
like they're super desensitized, and they definitely dehumanize like people who are
Yeah.
in prison, and so they
Yeah.
see them as less. So if someone like hurts themselves, or someone is like high on something when they come in, or they're like making a fool of themselves because they're not all there because they're having a break, those like guards will probably abuse them or hurt them. Like that's what they do because like that person's not human. Like, that person's
Yeah.
less than me because of the circumstances that they're in.
Yeah.
So, like, the workers there either turn a blind eye or, like, see only what they want to see, or they get a kick out of it because they don't
Yeah.
really see them as real.
Yeah.
The other movie we watched was...
Never Let Me Go. Also made me really sad.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready. It's from 2010 by Rark.
Mark Marmanek. Nice.
Oh my god, Mark Romanek. That was a situation. So it's based on a...
Do that one now.
No!
Based on what?
A Kazuo Ishiguro science fiction novel called Never Let Me Go. So it's the lives of three friends from their early school days into young adulthood. When the reality of the world they live in comes knocking. That wasn't grammar, but it's fine.
Yeah.
That's a real chill way to say
Yeah.
how awful that time was.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. It was just like really sad.
Yeah.
I cried.
The book, yeah. And the book is also really sad, but it takes a tone that people don't really mesh with. Because it has like that like posh, like British kind of feel where it's like this, but I think it is, I think it's a statement in and of itself because it's an acceptance of this world. So like people like now, like if we were thrown into this world, right? Like it's kind of that whole like tale where it's like if you put a frog in the water, it's already boiling, it'll jump out. But if you slowly like heat it up, it's adjusting, so then it won't jump out and then it boils, right? So it's like that. Like if we threw us in there, of course we'd be like, why don't they run? Just leave, like run away, kill yourself, whatever it is, right? But that's like their whole world.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no other existence, and so it's kind of like the blasé way that they're dealing with these like absurd things. I think is a statement of like how ingrained it is into society, and it's also like pretty accurate to how people deal with problems too.
Yeah, you just said some truth.
So I don't think that it's like, those are the bad reviews, because I know several people. I haven't read this book. I read about it a lot, and it's on my list. But I know people who have, and that's the common like argument is that the characters didn't like spring out to them. But it's like it's not about them. It's about the like circumstances, and it's about people. And I guess like if you know, Doremus can argue that it's about people and equals, then Katsuo can do that as well. So one of the things is in this book, the opening line is pretty impactful. It is, my name is Kathy H. I'm 31 years old, and I've been a carer now for over 11 years. That sounds long enough, I know, but actually they want me to go on for another 8 months until the end of this year. Which sounds like, okay, she's going to not have her job anymore. And then you realize that when she stops being a carer, they're taking her organs because she's a clone, and that's what their whole purpose is.
Yeah.
They are grown, like, they're groomed from being children in these, like, public, like, these private schools. And there's already, like, these ideas drilled into them where they can't leave. They have these like horror stories. Like if you leave, you're going to die in the woods. Or if you leave, well, we won't take you back and you'll starve. So like there's these like old wives' tales about it, like to keep them here and keep them obedient.
Keep them safe.
Yeah, right?
Whatever that is.
But that's like, you know, sometimes that's enough, especially if they're kids. Like, and again, they don't know anything. It's like Promised Neverland.
Very much so.
Which is an anime where there's kids who are in a similar situation. I don't want to explain what it is because it's scary. And I don't want to spoil it. It's like a good part.
It's so good, yeah.
That reveal is like awesome. But in this one, what we have
in the first episode.
What we have is people who, like children, and then it's revealed to them at this young age that they are clones of people. So unlike the island where they're direct clones, like you purchase a clone of yourself, essentially.
Yeah.
In this, they just make clones of people so that they can have cattle.
Yeah.
So you're just a body with organs in it. They grow you up for some reason. And then when you hit a certain age, they start taking you, and it's called donations.
Which is so rude, because it's definitely not. I feel
It's
like
not
if
a
it was
choice.
like, oh, could I do this? No. The answer would be no. They don't want to.
Yeah.
They're forced to, and then they die.
Yeah, so then they do donations, generally 3 to 4, before they complete.
Which means die.
Which is dying. Which is like a new word for completion. Like a new definition.
I kind of wanted to say something sad, but I don't want to now. So when my stepdad died,
Yeah.
Specifically through suicide,
Yeah.
the nurse described it as he succeeded.
Oof.
And I was like, what?
That's gross.
Yeah, my mom, it still bothers my mom
Yeah.
to this day. I was
Well,
like,
I guess
that's such a
people
weird
say,
way
like,
to describe
they,
it.
you know, were like not failed suicide. What did it say? Like
They survived.
Yeah.
That would have been
That's-
different.
yeah.
Or they died.
died.
I feel like those are the two words
That's
that
weird.
need to be
yeah.
said.
So completed is like, yeah, it's
It
just
made
a
me feel like
euphemism.
the same thing.
Yeah. Where it's just trying to like put this band-aid, or it's just trying to like lessen the intensity of the act.
Oh, it's 100. They're literally just being like, we're still good, right? It's fine.
Yeah. And they were
Morality.
told like 3 or 4 donations, but then later it's revealed if you survive that, then there's a 5th. And it's literally until you die.
Yeah.
Until you die, you are just an organ donor. And it's like, that's their whole life. Like, they never get to be anything else. And what we have is a romantic situation that's interwoven in that.
Yeah.
Where we have Kathy H. who's in love with Tommy, but he ends up with Ruth. And she later realizes, like, the worst thing in her life was keeping them from each other.
Yeah.
And
Because there's not
even
time
worse
to
because they
recover.
never had, like, if it happened in like later in life, like if you're doing like Grace and Frankie and their husbands are like, I know we're like really old, but I love him, they can start over. Their lives are not over. They get to keep going.
They have time. Yeah.
But these people don't. So, yeah. So, viewer or listener, whoever, whatever medium you're watching or listening to this on, I hope you got your media analysis glasses on, because guess what?
What?
Clones don't just mean clones. It's not just clones.
What?
Just like everything else. Wow, I can see again. I can see so clear.
They're supposed to help you
now
see.
that my glasses are on and now they're off. When you look at clones, what I found when I was kind of digging into them was that it's pretty much similar to previous episodes. So remember when we were doing our like whole monsters and loving monsters and vampires.
And monsters represent things.
Yes. Like, so this time last year, we were doing a lot about loving monsters in different ways. And we found that monsters like vampires and Frankenstein and Creature from the Black Lagoon tend to represent the other.
Uh-huh.
Or, which, you know, generally just meant someone from a different, like, social norm or a minority or someone of color or just
Someone who just isn't white.
Yeah, pretty much. Or rich white. As
Rich
well.
white man.
Yeah, rich white man who owns land, like America intended. So
Here we are.
Here we are. This is just like a similar thread, right?
Yeah.
Like instead we found a new thing to dehumanize and to use as a tool to say something is less than us and
We
to make.
always will.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I think the one thing is like they are a little more science fiction-y than horror because like clones are more realistic than vampires, right?
Okay.
Like
I was like,
vampires-
which thing are you saying it isn't? Because I
No.
evidence.
Like, I mean, science fiction is in, like, it has, like, science to it. Like,
Yeah.
it has something that's plausible to it, right?
Factuals.
Like, it feels like a distant future as opposed to, like, a fictional, horrific world.
Yes.
Right? Like, the Creature from the Black Lagoon isn't real, right?
Yeah.
But clones could be real. Like, aliens even could be real.
They are.
Yes. But I mean, like, even in the way that, like, we're seeing them on the film, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, like, and we're, like you said, we are already, like, pretty advanced scientifically, that it's more than likely that we would have a future that's similar to some of the things we see in this film. Or these films, both of them, right?
I think both of them already exist.
Yeah. And I'd say, like, in doing this research and thinking about how we would treat clones, the best thing that we could do is just look in our history books and look back to any time we treated any other person that was another, and there you go.
That's
There it
what would
is.
happen. People are trash. It's like, it's not that hard to comprehend. We're gonna suck. It's gonna be fun. It's not fine. It's awful.
Yeah, it is awful. I would say, like, clones now serve that narrative. Like, we swap that out, right? And they're just, like, perpetuating this, like, clockwork function of society's, like, ability to manipulate, like, the rest of the population to believe that that person is less than.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we have like it just made like people will just jump onto that bandwagon so closely. Like you look human, there's like they're not robots like AI. Like I get like people having that like confliction, right? Yeah. Because it's like but it's like you were made in a lab. Like yeah, sometimes they're test tube babies.
Yeah, they exist.
And they're still real.
Yeah.
Like or it's like those women who are like a C-section is not a real birth, and it's like what is it then? What is the answer?
That's rude. That's the only kind I can have.
Yeah. Well,
like
that's
that
the only
lady.
kind some people can say. Like,
I don't like that lady.
Good. Yeah, and I think it's just like, we have this like perpetuating throughout history, and it just happens that on this week's episode, it's clones that are being put into that position. Right. And I think if you took out the word clones in any of the synopses of the films or books and just put in like any minority, you've changed it to a documentary instead of a science fiction film.
Oh, 100%.
Like it's just like history.
Literally, yeah. And research it as like, it's like, we can't talk about all of it, so... Unless we're just going to change our podcast to let's talk about history and how much people suck.
Yeah.
We can't cover all of it because there's a lot of evidence that states we know exactly where we're going.
Yeah. And these films are like a way to kind of say that. So I don't want to give too much merit to Michael Bay in his dystopian sci-fi film. Because one, he didn't write it.
Yeah.
Right?
He did not.
But also it's... he's Michael Bay, so if it's not exploding, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Right? If it's not on fire. or it's not a hot girl.
Isaiah loved it, though. It was so funny.
Which I thought was really
man.
great. Like, because it was like, I tuned out right at the time when he was, like, in. And I was like, this is because, like, the way... And it's not to, like, discredit loving... Like, there's totally... You can love action-packed craziness.
Yeah.
You love Terminator.
I do.
I think it's nonsense. So it's like... so... Yes, not
I get
to discredit.
We like different things
that
sometimes.
Michael Bay
every once in a blue moon
did not sign up for this for it to be a big statement.
Yeah,
he signed up for it because it sounded cool and he can explode stuff.
Yes,
right?
100%.
And he could use ScarJo, and she's pretty.
Yeah,
right. But the good parts of it, one, he didn't write it, right? But the good parts of it, it's essentially just like this amalgamation of like 3 different science fiction films that came before it.
Yeah.
So we have an underrated George Lucas like oddball science fiction film called THX 1138.
Okay.
Which is like, I watched a trailer of it and I was like, yeah, it's very weird and I get it. Logan's Run, where people can't live past 30. Okay. And in that one, they go into carousel. And then according to this great article I found called Clones, Car Chases, and Carousel by Michael Curione on TalkFilmSociety.com, he says it's so much like this film parts the Clonus horror that the Clonus filmmakers received a large settlement for copyright infringement.
Wow.
And I watched like a trailer for that too, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty much the same thing. There's like an underground facility. They're making the clones. The people become the clones. They're trying to escape. It was like, the whole first half of this film is that movie. But like in 2005 instead of like some really old time, because it was very bad. Or just like it's different quality. Old. Yeah. It has the same like white jumpsuits, future, like manipulation of the populace, whatever we're trying to leave. I think what's really the most important part of this film that is telling and can be used in like when we want to dive in, because the other one has a lot more that I want to get into. But this one, I think the most important thing is the lottery. Yeah. One, it's the phrase. Like using the term the lottery, right? Because we have a lottery, right? And people spend lots of money in their lottery. And we are like using that phrase of like, here we have these people who live in this mundane life. They're doing their day-to-day. They're listening to what they're being told. And they're just doing that and they're not questioning anything because there's this hope that by chance, just by luck, that they get this like, this amazing future on the island that they earned just by being there. The golden ticket. Yeah. They got the golden ticket, right? And that's going to solve all the problems. So it doesn't, like, I don't want to fix them now because I'm going to fix it later. I'm going to get the lottery.
It's totally fine.
Right? Yeah. And that's how people...
Oh, my God.
That's how people live now. Right? So I actually, in college, I watched this documentary.
You're so smart.
And I can't, thank you. I can't remember the name of the documentary, but it's something that like stuck with me. It's this documentary about the lottery system in South Africa, I believe.
Okay.
And if someone knows what it is, please tell me. I believe it was South Africa. But it was like this, the system was so messed up. Like we had people who like couldn't afford like candles because they didn't have electricity, but they couldn't have candles. They couldn't afford bread, but they would scrape together their pennies to go and get a lottery ticket because that's all it would take, so they would never have to live this day again. Right? So like maybe the one day that they scraped together those pennies was the day that they got out. And so the point where they had to like outlaw like the lottery because of how like dangerous it was becoming for people.
Yeah.
Like they were putting that ahead of like their well-being because it was like, if I just keep going, eventually I can get there.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can forget that I can forget about like putting in the work to fix this now because I can just get an easy way out later.
Yeah.
And that's like America in a nutshell,
100%.
first of all, is everyone who doesn't want to fix the problems now because they have the hope that they'll be a millionaire someday or a billionaire. Let me tell you something. It would take you 17 lifetimes to make as much money as Jeff Bezos, and that's if you never had a day off. Okay? Yeah. Like it's like no one should have that much money. It should be illegal and he should go to jail. That's my statement. Yes. Anyone who's a billionaire. Anyway, essentially it's like how else do you control a population is you have to give them a strand of hope. Right? And a lot of the times that hope takes the form of like a religion, right? So like Karl Marx said that religion is the opiate of the masses, right? Yeah. In this case, it's the lottery. They always have that hope of the lottery, so then they're blind to the world around them.
Yeah.
They can just like keep going. Yeah. They don't have to change anything because it's just there for them. So we have just like obedience, childlike people who are fed, clothed, and controlled by this like unknown thing, right? Even though they know it's just like, and it's framed in a way that's like, we're helping you. Yeah. Like you owe us because we saved you and you're the last one and you're lucky, you're special. That's a big thing, too, is that they're always like, you're special, you're beautiful.
You survived.
Like, you survived, right? So then people are like, oh, I am. Like, I could never, like, go against the people who are helping me. Yeah. Right? I couldn't go against the government. I give them my taxes and they fix some of the roads. How could I ever ask them to fix all of the roads? Philadelphia, or and also the school systems so that my children can get an education and make a better life for themselves. And let's fix the prison, like the school to prison pipeline while we're at it. Yeah. Nope. We're all complacent. Right, yes.
Let's get rid of nurses again.
Oh, yeah. Who needs teachers? Who needs nurses? So essentially it's just like keeps people in check and they keep their heads down, right? So that's like the big thing that I saw. Like the rest of it is just like explosions and fun. Yeah. And it's like, it's Ewan McGregor sounding real hot with his Scottish accent. It's wonderful. And I was like, yay. Anytime he can, I'm like, okay. That's like with Colin Farrell, and he had his accent, and The Lobster, and I was like, I love this movie, so I don't care what's happening, he just keeps talking. But now it's getting to Never Let Me Go, which really is more heavy-handed and deliberate about its message. Right? So, according to an article I found, the book is essentially a metaphor for racism and the institutions that manipulate those. Yeah. Right? The ones that like manipulate, restrict, and hinder them. So Mimi Wong on electriclit.com goes on to explain in her article, Katsuo Ishigiro's Never Let Me Go is a masterpiece of racial metaphor. She says that reduced to their mere expendable parts, Kathy and her fellow students represent those marginalized figures of our collective unconscious. Their embodiment of the unspeakable may even be biologically encoded onto themselves. Kathy's friend Ruth theorizes, we're modeled from trash. Junkies, prostitutes, winos, tramps, convicts, maybe just so long as they aren't psychos. That's what we come from. Because ethnic minorities are more likely to live in poverty compared to white people in the UK, the source population for those clones would have almost certainly included people of color. And given the very real history of how Western medicine has exploited black bodies specifically, there's a strong case to be made for Ishigiro's characters being non-white, both figuratively and literally. For other modern-day metaphors for enslavement, look no further than commercial surrogacy or the indentured servitude sanctioned by our immigration laws. Yeah. Just that one sentence, like her saying, we're made from those people. Like, when you think of those people, that's what you're thinking. Is like these vulnerable communities that tend to be people of color and immigrants who can't get anything because they're not allowed. There's no like systems in place to allow them to grow.
Oh, yeah.
So we end
By
up...
no means.
Yes.
It's very intentional, and it's awful because the world
Right?
sucks.
And so like the odds of these clones actually being people of color is significantly higher than what we see in the film. And that's not like... I mean, it is taking place in the UK, but Katsuo is half Japanese, and he was born there, right? He has never stated that he wanted it to be like a Japanese thing, right?
Yeah.
But that when you kind of put that into focus, and like she brings up such a great point about this idea of like how Western medicine has exploited Black bodies. Like, look at what is it, the syphilis one, was that Tuskegee?
Yep.
Or literally anything that we do to our prison population, or something that we're going to talk about later in a later episode with...
About societies.
Yeah, about how they've pretty much sterilized Puerto Rico at some point. So they, to test stuff, like how many times they just test things to see what they would do, and they do it on those people. Yeah. So if there's going to be clones of people, odds are that the tests and the bad things are going to come from people who, you know, are vulnerable, and then later the rich people will get it.
Yeah.
Right? And then if that's the case, it would be a more like loving situation, as opposed to like you're in this school, it's probably a bad school, and you just have to like exist to be a slave.
Yeah.
It's New Age slavery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a bad time.
She essentially goes on to explain how we swapped out our usual suspects for the newer model of clones to do the menial and sacrificing tasks we expect of the minorities in our society. So she says, Never Let Me Go transforms the approach to racial subjugation in the name of scientific progress, which has created an entire subrace of clones to service the needs of the greater whole of society. Just as notions of racial hierarchy has been used to promulgate colonial systems throughout history, the perceived non-human status of clones seemingly justifies their sacrifice. The novel reframes the history of imperialism as a conflict between those considered human and those who are not. Right? And it's like we're easier to accept that they're not because they're clones, because they were made a little different.
Yeah, and it also just gets us the thing we want.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They want the thing.
Yeah.
They want to live longer. They want organs. So they're not human now.
Yeah, because
that's easier to digest. That's fine.
Like, give me an excuse to not ask more questions.
Yes.
Give me an excuse to accept it, right? And it's so easy to do because we've done it historically on less. Like, they've given us less. They've just said, okay, the Jews are doing it. Whole history of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you literally, like, you change it out and put any minority or any person who's been affected into the clones category, and it is literally just history.
Yeah, no, every single group that has been just that.
Yeah.
There's so many that no one can tell me that if this was a possibility, that we would not do the worst thing. Yeah. We've not learned. Half the people don't know about half the things that have happened in the history of humanity.
Yeah.
And just like opt for the easy way out. So it's like, don't tell me it's not.
Yeah.
It's going to.
Yeah, and I like one of the things that really sticks out, and is actually apart from the book and not the movie, because it's not said, is there's this quote where it says, "So you're waiting, even if you don't quite know it, waiting for the moment when you realize that you really are different to them, that there are people out there like Madam who don't hate you or wish you any harm, but who nevertheless shudder at the very thought of you, of how you were brought into this world and why, and who dread the idea of your hand brushing against theirs." And it's like but most people of color, specifically in America, I would say, and probably in other places, have had that moment where they realize, like, oh, I'm different. Like, not for anything I've done.
Yeah. Like,
but that people will perceive me different no matter what. Like, before you meet me, you already have an idea of who I am.
Yeah.
Right? Like you already have a preconceived notion because of the way that society has deemed us, right? And that you now have to like spend the rest of your life trying to like fight against those or like make like being not one of them. Like, oh, you're different from like, you know, or like, oh, you talk white or something, right?
Yeah.
Like you're working your whole life against stereotypes that exist there before you even get there, right? But there's like a moment in like just childhood when you are either confronted by someone or maybe you have had a talk because someone treated you different.
Yeah.
There's the Netflix show that I'm totally blanking on with the kid who has like the superpowers. The little black kid.
I know what you're talking about. But
And he
I
has
don't
a
know what it's
moment where some kid stole something and they accuse him and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And his mom has to be like, that people are gonna accuse you of things like that. Like you need to know that. And he says, bless his heart, he says, I thought Dr. King took care of that. And it's like, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
I wish he could. And it's like, that's like a moment that like even like modern day kids and kids who grew up in that whole colorblind world is that it's not colorblind. We're just pretending it is. And so then we're not doing anything to fix what is the problem.
Yeah.
Because we're pretending it's not there. So I think, I just think there's a lot in this film that was in the book that seemed really, really impactful. And I think it's saying a lot more than people are giving it credit for. And the film is really, emotional. It's more about like human relationships and not having enough time, right? It's the moral is really like you take for granted the time you have, right? Which is like such a pale like metaphor against like actual like being someone different, right? And it's just like, like you said, to kind of double down, right? That even if people knew that that other people were being harmed, like if they, like Madam even says in there, she's like, do you think, like if you asked, would people go back to the time when they had cancer and disease and were dying, that they would do it because you're in pain, right? Like, and they wouldn't.
They would not.
They wouldn't. And it's just like you said, right? 1 day shipping, right? Like people know that there's sweatshops and they know the horrible conditions that Amazon workers are in. And so they buy it. They have their subscription. I do not have an Amazon subscription because I'm better than all you people. But people still buy from H&M.
Yeah.
Right? And that they have, like, this. And so I think it's just like we have it's like the frog in the water. We're getting these little tests of things where it's just like, how much can you turn a blind eye to until we have clones?
Just so convenient. So.
Feelings. Yeah, feelings. Yeah, I said feelings.
So if you like it, it's people are trash.
Yes, because they are.
Factuals.
It's my new favorite phrase.
I did it for you.
Because I did that today too, and I was so happy.
And if you don't like it, it's cancel your Amazon subscription. You don't need it. You don't need those 2 days. Just buy it from a mom and pop shop. Help the world. That's all I gotta say. I will say it's been a little hard because there are things that are cheaper there. And I did miss like buying books on there. But it's called a library. And those are free. Did you know that? Did you know libraries are free?
They are.
You can buy whatever you want. Or not buy, but you just read it and then you put it back. And then you don't have a bunch of books like I do. And you're not a book hoarding dragon. I'm very much a book hoarding dragon. So, on the topic of clones.
I think you know where I stand. Oh, I mean, okay. No, you don't know where I stand. I just want to say people are trash all the time. Just cancel your Amazon subscription. Because, like, I don't want it to happen. My body is more trash than most bodies.
Yeah.
My body doesn't work for anything.
Yeah.
I wake up and I'm just like, oh, I guess this is me today.
Yeah.
I've been holding back a wheeze this whole episode.
Yeah.
I just wake up and nothing works. So I don't want clones. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you can fix all of this. I don't want that on me.
Yeah.
And this whole
thing,
thing,
like, at what cost?
That's what I'm saying. It's like everyone just doesn't care. This made me so sad.
Equal exchange.
So
and I think it's just
so
like
sad.
One of the so next week we're going to talk about aliens.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I always said about aliens, because I was just like, let aliens come, because then at least we can have something different to be prejudiced against, right? We can have something different to hate, and we can unite and hate it all together, right? It's like a Watchmen, with the
Yeah.
dropping the squid, right? It's like everyone realizes like there's something else out there. There's giant squids, different dimensions. Now we're all better for it, right? Like, so I was just like, oh, you know, if there's a different thing. But it's like, that's still bad. Like, why is it so innate in us that we need something that's less than us? That we need to, like, abuse that and we can't just exist, right?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we just treat people like people and, like, take care of them? And, like, work in their best interest.
You would think it would be easier, but it's... So, I mean, everyone makes that whole argument. It's like, we fell from whatever it's called.
Eden?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the hell. Like, there's no...
Yeah.
We've been in the bad place the whole time.
No. Okay, that makes sense.
And the whole thing is that we're supposed to think it's the good or the medium place.
Yeah.
And it's been the bad place this whole time.
Yeah.
And like we're hoping for this better place. We're waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
We
There's
don't
no better
deserve it.
place.
Like,
Yeah, we
there's
don't.
no,
But
we
if there is
don't.
a better place, we ain't going there. Well, how
Yeah.
do you feel about the films?
They were fun.
Yeah. Yeah, the island is fun.
People are
It's a lot of
trash.
noise. People are trash.
I
And
cried in the other one, so
Never
I
Let Me
definitely
Go.
liked it.
It definitely like hurt that ending when you realize like it's over because it just feels so final and like hopeless. You know,
The whole thing was fine. Like I felt like I needed to cry at the beginning of that film. I saw those kids and I was like, no. I got so upset. I was just like, this is the worst.
yeah,
Okay,
and
we're
then
gonna watch
it's
the
like
whole
tries to
thing. And
distract
it's
you
just sad.
with like romance
It's
and
not.
with
It's
Keira
just
Knightley,
sad.
and you're like, okay, Keira Knightley's in it, Andrew Garfield, and he's like a little dopey boy, and there's
hated
love,
it.
but you're like hurting. Like there's that moment where he says like, I know why you were looking at the
Porn.
the porn magazines.
Yeah.
And it was because you were looking for your original. He didn't say original. I forget.
That's
You're
what it-
modeled after
Yeah,
whatever.
the person.
Yeah, and
Because
I was
of what
like,
Kira said.
because she thought it was because she was like trying to do naughty things,
Yeah.
right? And that was such an like you always want to kind of know where you came from, and that was like just one statement. Like that could be said about like people who go through adoption,
Yeah.
or people who just like lose their family, or they're
Yeah.
like they're separated from their family in any way, and it's like you always want to know where you came from because you feel like that'll help you define yourself, and it's like they're not even allowed that. They're not allowed to define themselves. They're just hovering and they're alone, and then they're just used, and there's like this society that just lets it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is like horribly sad the whole time. And it's sad how much it is just like what life is. Like this series, I've enjoyed it. I'm not saying I didn't. It's like research is fun. And I like get all mad and like, what's the word? Passionate about stuff. But like,
yeah,
you know, I was a history major, so there would be like a time where I would learn too much.
yeah.
And I'd have to like,
Yeah, we'll probably have to go
cry
watch some
for a
like
minute.
cartoons or something.
yeah, it was just like, I was like, this, why? I like, it's like when I was reading about the Holocaust, I'd be like, why did we even keep going? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
like, why we should have just
We
stopped.
should just burn the whole world.
Start over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slavery, burn it all. Like, why? Why do we exist? We're parasites, so we shouldn't be here. This is what this does. This stuff
Yeah.
makes me feel that way so strongly, and it's
Yeah.
like depressing. That's fine.
Yeah.
There's probably good stuff. I don't know.
Well, on that happy note,
We're here.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we got one more in this series before we move on to something new
Yeah.
in your month of February. So don't get married,
Delete your kids.
or they'll use them for organs.
Stop hurting yourself. I'll have to clone you and remove their foot so that you can have a foot.
No.
Yeah, hold on. Don't question what I will and will not do for you. I don't care if I have to kill everybody.
Kevin, you can't say that.
Cameras
are rolling.
We're not live.
The cameras are
We didn't say the magic word yet. You'll delete that part.
It's gonna go in the bloopers.
Oh,